This is Malcolm Nance. And if you're here, you are absolutely here for the Black Man Spy, U.S. Iran. I wanted to call it Warcast, but it is now, we are at the U.S. Iran Economic Outcast. Day number 44 of the second phase of the war, but we are on, I'm going to reverse those numbers. We are on day 178 of the U.S.-Iran crisis, war, whatever you want to call it. In 2 days, Thursday, we're going to have to pop the champagne. Note to self, pick up mini bottles of champagne. And what I think that I'm going to have is, let me see, it'll be 9 in the morning, right? So what could I legally drink at 9 in the morning
Mimosa.
that wouldn't make... I was going to say, I could have a mimosa. I could have a Kir Royale, right? Let's try.
You know, my first time drinking was totally by accident.
I'm sure.
I was being flown by the Saudi government to go to a conference for the president of Saudi clubs in DC, where they basically get you in the first level of Saudi intelligence without actually giving you into Saudi intelligence to spy on the rest of the Saudi students and stuff. And, just indoctrinate you into how to become a spokesman on behalf of the Saudi government here and there. So I was being flown, and by accident, the whole plane was taken, and there was only one business class ticket left. So they took me the business class for me.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sitting there.
Wait, there's something below business class?
That's my first time actually flying. No, there was some Saudis in the plane. I was the only Saudi in business. But there was, I always learn something, but I learned there's an exception to every rule.
Yeah.
When there's a fat guy ordering something over and over again, it must be good. So
you were just sitting there minding your own business.
I was minding my own business. He had the first tomato drink, the second tomato drink. I'd never seen a tomato drink my whole life.
What is that?
I've never seen
white water they're putting in it, right? That white liquid they're pouring in that tomato drink.
Well, they don't pour it. They never poured anything in front of you. They all do it in the back. So I did not see anything. So I was like, oh, this must be vinegar. Oh, they're doing cocktail, like in Arabic, like they're giving you levels right here.
Mocktails.
Yeah, mocktail. And I'm like, okay, you got to take a sip. I didn't even mix it. I'm like, you got to take the vinegar and then you got to take the tomato. This is how they want you to do it. This is because in Arabia, we have the cocktail and we put levels of juices right after each other. And you're not supposed to mix it around. You're supposed to drink each part alone to enjoy it. So I was like, my head is still stuck where I came from. And I took the first sip.
I'm going to tell you exactly what it felt like the moment. I hope you can actually hear this, but this is one of my favorite songs. But this is how I think this is the musical version of hold on, I got to take this off the earplugs. But I think this is the musical version of. You still there? Good.
Yep.
This is the musical version of what happened to Wadja on his first drink.
I wish.
My Saudi brothers came on and watched like.
I still don't know that was alcohol. I still didn't know that was alcohol. I took a sip and it tasted so disgusting. I always assumed alcohol would taste so nice.
It might not be alcohol.
I assumed that alcohol would taste nice, but it tasted like poison. I'm like, oh, these infidels, they put poison in my drink to kill me. Oh, I'm going to get killed. They know I'm about to go meet the Saudi government. The alcohol is kicking in, you could tell, but it's freaking me out instead of calming me down.
Halas. And then
I bet I'm checking the AC.
Second drink. Next one, please. Okay. That was the Chemical Brothers, by the way, so that we don't violate any copyrights. One of my favorite songs, Galvanize. And if you've never seen that video, it's of um like what do they call those guys? The juggalo Algerian kids in the Casbah, right? Dancing to this techno EDM. But that's what I think your second drink sounded like too. Every time you hit that drink, dun, dun, dun. Hafla, hafla. Well, listen, guys, I know that that's funny, but we have a reason to celebrate. No, we shouldn't, not with alcohol. Everybody forgive me. Today is Saeed Eid al-Milad al-Nabi. Today is the Prophet Muhammad's birthday.
Yep.
Waja, I expected you to know this. It came up on my Islamic calendar. By the way, do you have a call to prayer clock?
I used to.
I have call to prayer clock. I have 2 or 3 I think I have 3 that I've bought all around the Muslim world. They all come from the same factory in China, right? But they all do the call to prayer. I have to get one that will play Galvanize.
That would be awesome.
That will be Middle Eastern happy hour o'clock. And the funny thing is, so today is the anniversary. Today is the birthday of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. From of course Mecca. He is 1,456 years old today. He was born in the year of 570. 570. He died in 632. And then after that, it got really dynamic, right? So, but today the Muslim world is celebrating. Look at, he's already got the green blanket out for him. Hit it with us, baby. There you go. Saeed Eid al-Milad al-Nabi. So Watch is out there celebrating and reminiscing about the first time he drank alcohol. Listen, guys, we're almost at our 1,000 person mark. And which is good because we actually have a lot to talk about. Most of the stuff is not dynamic or kinetic warfare. It's the politics of what's going on. But before we do,
like 40,
Dexter Ingram.
43, 44 grandpas ago. He's my grandpa.
We got 43 grandpas.
That's not that many grandpas.
No.
It was like according to like messages from my family in Morocco, Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak. So, thank you for mentioning that.
You're welcome. Unfortunately, we're done with Eid. So this is
Right.
This is the Malid al-Nabi. This is happy birthday to the Prophet Muhammad. Okay. So, which is fun. And the first thing Wajid talks about is how Saudi poisoned him with Western giggle juice. So,
no, it was American Airlines that poisoned me. That's why I thought it was the infidel.
Oh, yeah.
It was American Airlines?
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, I have been on a Saudi flight into Jeddah, which was something, because when you cross over past Cairo, they make the first announcement that you're going to be in Saudi airspace in about an hour, right? And everybody starts milling about, going to the toilets and everything. And then at 30 minutes out, it's like, last warning, we are entering Saudi airspace in 30 minutes. And then boom, every suit is gone. Everyone's in a dish dasha. The women are all Mia bil Mia, right? They're all what we call BMOs, right? Black moving objects. They transform from in dresses or we do everything by percentage. You know how women dress is by percentage. And so when they're in Europe, they're set what we call 75 percenters, right? A 75 percenter is someone who shows their hands, shows their ankles, shows their head, but with a light scarf. And as you go up, if you tighten the scarf, you go up to 80%. If if you're wearing like shawar khamis, you're at 85%. But if you go full abaya, right? Which my wife had to do when we were in Iraq, right? She came on operations in Iraq, which was fun. Bringing a landscape architect into a defensive perimeter. And the first thing she goes is, "Who's the idiot that designed your berms?" And we're like, um, we just took a bulldozer. She goes, "Obviously, you created a ski jump for suicide bombers." You know, she goes, "Get me a backhoe, a level, and and what is it? These technical tools." And then she goes, now she created moats and trenches. She goes, "Now the truck will go in first, and then the blast will go up the side of the wall." And I was like, "Who is this woman?" 5 minutes in Iraq, she has already redesigned all of our defenses. But she had to go 95%er, which is 95% is everything covered, black abaya, except for your hands and your face. Then, if you're like the Saudis, right, you got to go mia bil You got to go 100%,
Well,
right?
my mom in the U.S. was
Hands.
9%. My mom in the U.S. My mother, when she's in the U.S., she's a 90%. But when
Yeah,
she's
she
in
stuck
Saudi
her
Arabia,
hands.
she's 100%.
Hands and face is okay in the West, and showing your shoes, right? Being able to show your shoes. But when you go to Saudi Arabia, it's 100%er, right? You got to be, and that's the, the phrase BMO, black moving object, was actually something I learned from an Emirati. That's- he was making a joke. So, yeah, I mean, but we're talking culturally. This is what happened on my Saudia flight. Everybody, boop, transformation.
Could you imagine being a child and walking around a mall thinking every mom could be your mom because you're looking for your mom?
No, like my son, when we were overseas, no joke, I guess he was around 3. He was like, "Mom, there are ninjas everywhere."
Yes. And if you are not good, if you are not good, you will meet the ninja. I will show you ninja. I am ninja trained also.
Yeah.
So, okay. Listen, so we've reached 1,000 followers. It's time to start our day and the news. As you see, what are you guys drinking coffee out of? I am still on my Illy coffee mugs because I need doubles. You've got some earthy thing there, and you still with your VQ mug. VQ4. I didn't even know those guys existed. So, and non-existent now. So, that being said, which is our transition phrase on this show, Waji, would you please give us a look at the price of oil today? And I'm sure it's going to be good. I'm sure there's a happy Prophet Muhammad birthday margin that they've raised it. So,
اللهم
we'll take
صل
a quick
وسلم
look at
عليك
that.
يا سيدي يا حبيب الله. Okay? Yeah, that's how you
Allah.
start.
Yalla.
Or if you're
Fadla.
Shi'i, اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Now, WTI is sitting at 82.08, dropping to $3 almost. Brent crude dropped another $3, sitting at 89.15 cents. Marban dropped $8, making it 93.30. Meanwhile, OPEC is at 91.27.
Well, that will last about 30 minutes because before I get on to the major significant events in the political realm, let's talk about the kinetic significant events. The Iranians attacked a tanker last night in the Strait of Hormuz. Outbound tanker, apparently carrying petroleum products, used the American backed Omani traffic separation scheme, and they struck that tanker off Ashisha, which is to the northeast, Ashisha, the northeast corner of the Musab Peninsula. Here's the picture. You see Oman in the bottom there. This is Oman, the Musandam Peninsula. The village of Khassab is over here. I'll point there. This is Ashisha. The tanker was struck here. But Malcolm, that's a pretty narrow point of the Gulf. How far away from it is from the nearest Iranian base? Here is the Syriac Navy Weapons Cave Complex, right? These guys could stand watch, hang out at the cave door, and say, hey, isn't that the tanker over there? Launch one from the door. And they hit this tanker in the engine room. The fact that it hit the engine room, disabled the vessel, caused a fire, makes me believe they used a loitering drone that flew over at its own and just bopped right into the engine room. And now the price of oil is likely going to jump back up that $3 that it dropped yesterday, because it
How long
dropped
ago was that?
$3 from. What's that?
How long was that attack?
Oh, a few hours. Let me see. I'll show you the UKMTO warning. The thing is, we always get these attacks now, first from the Iranians. They go, yeah, we hit somebody. Khalas. And then everybody says, no, they didn't. Then the UKMTO comes out because the ship is screaming Mayday, right? And bum, bum, bum. And then the United States has to carry out a search and rescue, or the Omanis, 14 hours ago. 14 hours ago. So that was 7 p.m. last night. Add 8 hours to that. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 a.m. Iranian time. The midwatch, the midnight shift of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps at Syriac Weapons Cave Complex literally could look out the door of their cave and see that ship crossing and said, hey, it's a boarding evening. Put one into him. And they did. So the price of oil is likely to go back up because they spent all yesterday convincing us that the economic war was on and the price of oil would drop and no one's doing business with Iran. And everybody got froggy and decided to lower the price of oil. We will see by the end of this show how much oil is again.
No one
Because
is
it
about
also,
to do business with the U.S.
they have let me tell you, they are living that fantasy baseball world, and that is what we are going to talk about today. So yesterday, Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, who is now the point man in the war on Iran, announced the United States has started a new, improved, sanction-proof operation against Iran that he announced 2 weeks ago, then 1 week ago, and now announced again yesterday. But he has a cool name for it now. It's called Operation Economic Outcast.
This is the platinum plan, you know? And then you have the diamond plan.
What's higher,
You're doing everything
platinum
in
or
reverse.
diamond? What's higher, platinum or diamond?
The diamond comes after platinum.
Then
Unless
after
you're
that,
the U.S.
Yeah.
that it'll be the platinum covered diamonds, right?
Yeah.
With gold inlay. The only thing I can tell you about Operation Economic Outcast, first off, it really feels like it's describing us in the United States, because things ain't going so well in our economy. But as far as they're concerned, the masters of the universe have decided that they are carrying out this full-scale, never-before-seen economic war against Iran. And Scott Bessent, again, is the point man for this new war, which I guess is going to lose him his job if it doesn't work. Well, it already isn't working, because there are a whole bunch of countries that have essentially said, we're not going to do anything. And the two countries who are most important are Russia and China. And they have already both made announcements. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to pay any attention to this. So Scott Bessent is so sanguine about this, was so happy about making this announcement. He made a whole bunch of very interesting statements. First, He said this is going to break the government of Iran because nobody in the Iranian army is getting paid. People are starving in the streets. He essentially described it this way. And he called Scott Bessent, okay? Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, openly gay married man with 2 adopted kids in the United States, as the spear tip to the U.S. campaign against these very conservative Iranians, called on the Iranian army soldiers, right? You're going to love this phrase, especially you, Dex, to lay down your arms, but overthrow the government after you lay down your arm.
He brought up the Berlin Wall. He was like, yeah, just to remind you, the Berlin Wall did not fall without soldiers laying down their guns. Like,
wait, what? Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. Actually,
it did.
in fact,
but why would the Iranians do that, though?
Well, and it's again, this is just what you would normally do way before any kind of kinetic conflict, attack, air, land, sea. You would have diplomacy, you would have the economic sanctions, and then you would go into other pieces. If you look at the people in Iran are going to suffer. They're going to suffer, but China's not on board. Russia's not on board. UAE, they are on board. We'll find out about Turkey. The people are going to suffer, but I think they're prepared to suffer.
Well, this is exactly what happened to DEI when you apply it to white people.
Create hardship, but they're not going to suffer. Well, speaking of what you just said, here's some more things that Scott Bessent said. Bessent said, this is interesting, to expand his definition of sanction. Any merchant vessel that uses IRGC waters, right, that in any way responds or follows Iranian commands, right? Like stop or we will sink you. If you do that, you automatically get hit by the sanctions. He also said if you in any way confirm the authority of the Persian Gulf Straits Authority, which is what Iran calls their version of the Port Authority of New York, right? The guys who are running the tunnels. Mm-hmm. If you respond to an email to them asking for you to identify your vessel or responding to their request for their $2 million toll, you are automatically sanctioned. If at any point you communicate with them, like on Channel 16, stop your ship or I sink you. If you communicate and respond to the Iranians, you and your company will be sanctioned. So here's the other one. Do not pay, quote, do not pay, do not respond to emails, because that's how they get you. They say, please click this link and send us $2 million, right? I find this fascinating because the United States is now placing the burden on every country, every merchantman, everything in the world going through the Strait of Hormuz either way. Mm-hmm. And at this point, this is the sort of thing where you would start turning off your AIS to use the Iranian traffic separation scheme so that you could say, well, I didn't communicate with them, right? My chandler paid them, dropped a $2 million, recalibration fee or environmental fee or Gulf Straits management fee, not me. But it's insane. It's insane. Yeah. The United States is essentially saying we will stop all fucking trade if you in any way keep your vessel from being harmed by the Iranians. Let us harm you. Don't get it.
Yeah, I think that's why there's no backing right now. I mean, fundamentally, these are people. It's almost like they're trying to play Monopoly or Dungeons and Dragons or something like that, and they're not based in any reality. Like you named it. Watch, you literally said this is what happened when DEI actually comes to fruition and you have unqualified folks leading things, there's no grounding in reality.
I was literally saying that the fact is literally your exact same point to my husband yesterday. One of his nephews like to mess around really, like, and just like be silly the whole time. And the Trump administration just gives me that feeling the whole time that like
Well,
when when like they're playing, they're just using whatever option that seems the most out of reach, not because it's the right thing to do, but because it sounds so cool, and or because it will make us say that we have used this and that, or I want to see if we can actually get that 1% chance, or whatever it is. There is an itch for getting the unreachable, and the fact is, people who are in power that are disconnected from everyone else tend to look at their own people as toys, like a chess,
Yeah.
like in a chess, or like in any game. Like they think of things as, oh, if I lose this, it's okay. If I lose that, it's okay. This is ends justify the mean, or whatever that they want to call it. But this is just a whole nother end. But genuinely, this is what happens when you have billionaires, really, like billionaires running the world. Saudi government are not even billionaires; they're trillionaires. The UAE trillionaires. They're
yeah.
funding wars all across the world as we speak. Literally, when you have families that become part of the ruling powers, they are so disconnected from you and me. They don't understand what it means to pay your bills every month. They don't understand what it means to go shopping. They don't understand what it means to go fix your own house. They don't even understand what it means to mow their own lawn. Like, they don't get it.
Well, that you're right. Certainly in like the Emirates and Qatar and places like that. I used to, when I was in Bahrain in the 80s, we hated going to Doha, Qatar. Just, oh, please don't let us go to Doha, Qatar. There's nothing there. There's 3 camels and a snack bar, and the snack bar's not for us, right? And then it exploded into this massive economic powerhouse. But I always tell this story about my late wife, which is why I was living in Abu Dhabi for 10 years. She was the brains of the outfit. She was a mega projects landscape architect, and she built major sections of the city of Abu Dhabi. And I told you this story once before, Waja, where she comes home, she goes, "You wouldn't believe what I just got ordered to do today." And I go, "What?" She goes, "I've been ordered to give one company $100 million." She goes, "No bidding, no nothing. Just call this guy, give him $100 million." And she goes, "What for?" She goes, "Water fountains. Water fountains around the city. They don't know where to put them. This company will figure it out." Right?
Mhm.
And then she goes, "They have stupid money here.
Yeah,
They have money.
Monopoly
They
money.
don't know
they'll
how
go
to
to
spend it."
McKinsey and give them $5 billion and tell them, listen, I have $5 billion budget so you can put water fountains around Dubai. Not around the whole country, just Dubai. And I want the best water fountains. I want water fountains that do all the things that any water fountain wouldn't do, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the company. Wet Designs, right? These are the guys who built the water fountain at the Bellagio, Caesar's Palace. Now the Burj Khalifa, the dancing water fountains. And my favorite part of that story was when she called the CEO. This guy liked me because he liked to talk spy stuff. And she goes, "Can you be here by the day after tomorrow or tomorrow?" And he's in San Diego. He goes, "No." She goes, "Oh." He's like, "Yes, Jetstream." She goes, "I'm leaving in an hour. I will be in Abu Dhabi tomorrow to receive $100 million to install dancing water fountains." So and the way she described it is they don't know what to do with their money.
Yeah.
So they do everything with their money, and
they're
you can,
people.
well, yeah, that's sort of true. Well, in the Emirates, you're taken care of.
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia is bigger. There's 25 million Saudi Arabians. And in parts of Saudi Arabia, you will find poverty despite the fact that it's a social state. Anyone can get charity. Anyone can get loans. Waji, I don't know if it's like in the Emirates. If you take $1 million in loans 1 month before Ramadan, and you don't repay them, you get put in jail for
Flowers and the
Ramadan,
glory
but at Eid, they pardon you and you don't have to
Yeah.
repay those loans.
They pardon you just for like aid, but you're still responsible for the loans. What
Not in the Emirates.
the Saudis had glory days, but the leadership that came in, it was so young and was so out of touch with reality. They invested in so many projects that they cannot afford. And instead of supporting their own citizens, a lot of the Saudis got evicted. A lot of the Saudis got cleansed out for Neom to happen, like uh,
Yeah.
Al-Huwaitat tribes, who are indigenous tribes that lived there for hundreds of years, were essentially killed on the spot if they did not move. And not a lot of media talked about it. The Saudi government continued to market Neom as the new vision of the kingdom, and now all of the
I hope not.
projects that Neom has worked on are coming to end, especially with this war, because the kingdom realized getting their oil is the main priority at the
It's
moment,
it's
more than
it's
any
going
other
to be
project.
dead stop. Exactly as we talked about this a few months ago in 2008 after the economic meltdown, January 2009, they were like shutting off all contracts for 5 years. Nothing moves, nothing gets paid. We live off our overseas income. We sell oil. That's it. And that country did that. They shut all purchasing for 5 years off. Then they got all their money built back up and they did it. Thomas Day made a quick comment. We have a chat comment in here that I thought is very interesting. He says, we are being dismantled, the United States, by scammers and they're using AI. It's all insane. People without a moral compass using tools without a moral compass. Add in the hatred. Man, we're screwed. And
Yeah, I
the
mean,
thing is, I think the Gulf states also are fooling themselves into into listening to us, the United States, about what is good for them. And I don't know when they're going to really draw away. I think they may go back to business as usual and to a certain extent once they recover some of their money. But if Trump keeps going on, like you said, they have this masters of the universe attitude. They pull the levers that control the world. Fuck the Arabs. We'll blockade Iran. And you can come out by taking anti-ship missiles into your ships. But we won't. Will we pay you back? No. Although, let's be honest, we may find out there's a secret slush fund to repay the Saudis, the Emiratis, the Qataris for every ship that's attacked. Right? We may have some secret $50 billion of debt because we want to look like we have the Strait of Hormuz open. And according to my notes, it's not open. But we want to pretend that. Oh, quick little note. I'm going to talk about China and what China had to say about the U.S. Operation Economic Outcast. China's foreign minister responds to Operation Economic Outcast, the sweeping global sanctions. Quote, China's cooperation with Iran is conducted within the framework of international law and should not be disrupted. In other words, that's one. China is closely following the developments and will take all necessary measures to firmly safeguard its rights and interest. That's number two. In other words, don't even think about it. We aren't going by you, Scott Bessent, what you think are laws that you're not even following your own country's laws. We're
What
going
are
by
you going to do about
international
it?
law of the sea. We're going by international trade. We're not listening to you. So China's out, which
Let me
means
act like I'm China. Let me act like I'm
خلاص,
China.
talk with it.
And you act like you're America, okay?
Okay. All
What are
right.
you going to do? What are you going to do about it? Really? What are you going to do about it?
We won't let you use our banks.
Okay.
Well, we don't need your banks anymore.
Yeah, but now you can't trade oil using the dollar.
We got the BRICS.
We'll use renminbi, right? It's like, sounds like a good idea. All right. I think it's time
That
for a
means your
big
petrodollar gets
strategic
killed.
global change.
You're literally as speeding your petrodollar deaths. That's good for me.
You know, and
Man,
all of the little things that they're also doing. So there's the big pieces tied to China and you know, China saying F you. You have individuals being sanctioned. But when you deal with nuclear material, when you deal with economic sanctions, you want to take care of all of the smuggling, all of the things that kind of go on behind the scenes. And it just blows my mind how this was being done years ago under different presidents, and now it's kind of making it sound like we're reinventing this. Like we're sitting there going, "Oh, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna stop the smuggling. We're not gonna." Obviously, you know they're not smuggling nuclear material, but any kind of proliferation that deals with weapons, that deals with money, koala networks, whatever it may be, we're gonna focus on that. And it's kind of like, no shit, this is the fundamental job of what every team I ever worked for in government did. Like, period. This isn't groundbreaking. This is just ABC 123. And the fact that they're rolling it out like this is the coolest thing we are doing and nobody's ever thought of it. It's kind of like, did you
that's
go to
because
school?
you're looking at the South Park version of government. It's a joke. Nothing that's happening is normal because they don't care anymore. We talked about this yesterday. Karl Rove's attitude. Fuck you. We will make our own history. What you think is correct and normal, cool guys, do it our way. We got guns and bombs and dudes, right? Like, share, subscribe. So that is the way they're doing it.
Yeah.
No one has ever put up banners like North Korea on U.S. government buildings. They're all over Washington, D.C. now.
South
It's
Korea is officially
absolutely
pursuing
insane.
nuclear bombs.
And now we're just going to do it. Xi Jinping is supposed to come to the United States in 30 days. 30 days from now, he's coming to Washington.
South
And do you think
Korea
Trump
is
is going to cut
working
off all
on
banking to China?
no. Let me re-elaborate. South Korea is working on making its own nuclear bomb.
Of
It's
course they
official.
are. You know, and I
It's
know
official.
that probably for the last 20, 25 years, South Korea has probably been testing the most critical part of the bomb isn't the uranium. It's the high explosives that compresses the uranium to create the fission of the nuclear molecules, right? That's hard, that RDX ball. It's like the key linchpin, getting everything to fire simultaneously, right? They probably have that done. And the next thing you know, somebody will sell them a plutonium core, or they'll take some enriched uranium that they've been collecting for a while, and they will, I don't know where they'll detonate it, probably underground somewhere. And they'll go, yeah, we got one too. And you never detonate a fucking atomic bomb unless you got 5 more set aside.
Well,
Right?
there's a problem here, and I would love for you guys to chime in. This administration genuinely believe that nuclear proliferation is a good thing.
Yeah, I know. They're the first ones to say. Trump said that in his first term, right? What's the problem with South Korea getting the bomb?
Isn't that the reason we went to war with Iran? I mean, you got to look at Iran.
Oh,
Right?
wait, no.
You'll sit there and say they have 1,000, almost 1,000 pounds of 60% highly enriched uranium. Now, that's enough to make about 10 weapons, to be very blunt. And it's harder to go from 0 to 20% than it is from 60 to 90%. 60 to 90% enrichment is pretty easy. 0 to
Right.
20%,
They say
it's really tough. And most, I don't know, nuclear facilities use about 3 to 5%. If you wanna look at research facilities, they might get up to 20%. Iranian doesn't have a nuclear navy. They don't have civilian uses for this. So what we've done, by everything we've done, besides oil going up, besides regional conflicts, besides isolating our friends, we've stopped the United Nations IAEA from being able to go in and find it, verify it, and help monitor it. Right now, there's no oversight whatsoever.
Look, don't forget, this started in the first or the George W. Bush administration when they went after Valerie Plame, right? A CIA non-official cover officer who ran a 92 officer secret program. None of these people were officially in the CIA to hunt for nuclear materials that was floating around the world. The key to the non-proliferation program, and the Bush administration was like, fuck that, out her. It's politically convenient for us. The Trump administration doesn't believe in nuclear control at all, except for Iran. Israel has 100 bombs, so what? Right? South Korea's getting the bomb, halas. This is insane. We are making the world. You never heard Trump ever talk bad about India or Pakistan and their nuclear program, except where he claims he ended a war between them, which both parties say is a lie. He lives in a fantasy world, and it has the potential here to kill millions of people. And if somebody ever uses a device like Pakistan, wipes out wipes out Mumbai, as a warning, not as an actual attack, but as a warning, or vice versa, Rawalpindi gets wiped out, then you can blame Donald Trump personally for eliminating the United States' ability to even negotiate and discuss these at the diplomatic level, because we don't have diplomacy anymore in the U.S. government. The State Department's a joke. It's a visa withholding operation now. And, and supporting white supremacists all over the world.
Oh yeah. And 25 years ago, this is the part I keep going back to. Like they're making it seem like it's new stuff. You look at India and Pakistan. I used to run nuclear scenarios, and any kind of war between India and Pakistan, all the fallout goes back into India, all of it, which is kind of like drinking poison and expecting somebody else to die. These are basic things that the people making decisions that pull levers have no understanding about. I mean, like things that are part of our DNA every day, right? Drinking water, breathing air, things that we do, they're kind of like, I'm going to breathe. I'm going to take a sip of water. I mean, it's so fundamental.
Yeah, but look, our own country has already decided to poison us, stop inoculations and vaccinations. We've gutted the Clean Air and Clean Water Protections Act. We're allowing ECBs to be put back into rivers. We don't give two fucks. This 1 year alone has literally wiped out 85 years of U.S. progress on literally everything. Everything. We are a rogue pariah nation now. We're a rogue nation. We're on our way to becoming a pariah nation. We're doing pretty good at that. Let me step off. We got a couple of more things to do before we get to questions. By the way, the chat is open.
By the way,
chat.
I have a request from the FDC or whatever they want to call themselves from RFK. Everything now is getting recalled. I want a list of the things that are not getting recalled so I can buy from them.
Yeah, quack medicine from his quack medicine scammer friends. It's just the worst. It's just the fucking worst. All right. Israel, let's move on. Oh, by the way, it has now turned out that the United States intelligence community in theory led by Tulsi Gabbard, did in fact warn Donald Trump that everything that has happened would happen, which I could have told you. Watch could have told you. Anybody could have told you what would happen. The first thing that they do, you kill all these old men, really hardline young men are going to take over. Boom. That's what's happened. You wipe out a guy's dad, wife, daughters, he's going to be pretty hardline. Boom. That's what happened. Oh, they'll immediately close the Strait of Hormuz? We've known that for 47 years. Boom. That's what's happened. And apparently the Trump administration did not care because they are masters of the universe. And whatever we say will happen in our little fantasy brains is what's going to happen. That's how they think. Okay. Finally, not finally, we got a couple of other things here. Today, the Iranian-Omani talks on the access to the Strait of Hormuz restart. So we may have an Omani-Iranian agreement within a week or so. It depends whether Trump will follow that. I have a strange feeling he's not going to follow it, which means the Strait of Hormuz will remain closed for weeks.
Well, Pakistan, their field marshal was just there too. He just returned home. So you have people that are actively working on this. What we're doing right now, I think the economic front is the plan until after the midterms, and then it's going to be kinetic again.
Well, key thing to remember, the Omani-Iranian talks have nothing to do with the U.S.-Iran talks.
But Iran, regardless of that, made a very clear statement and has repeated it over and over again. The Iranian-Omani talks are dependent on the U.S. blockade.
Yeah,
so as long as
very true.
So,
but
so
don't
as
forget
long
the
as
Gulf
the,
states are
as
backing
long
them.
as long as the Gulf states cannot control the United States actions and the U.S. blockade, then you can assume that the rest of the blockade will continue, meaning the rest of the talks will continue stalling. That's just the game theory that's presented.
Yeah, true. Also, in other news, Pete Hegseth enunciated the fantasy that Scott Bessent and the administration have clearly all have decided they were going to say today. And that fantasy is the Iranian economy is on the edge of collapse. He made a statement just this morning, about an hour before the show, that the Iranian economy is on the virtual collapse. Quote, Iran can't take it. Its economy is in a spiral. These guys, they have a Westerner's attitude towards an Eastern culture where they're like, close the banks. We'll turn off their mobile phone apps. They can't use Venmo. It's like, okay. That is a different way of looking at it, right? Cash is their economy. Their economy is mainly cash. It's not electronic. There are no Iranians in
90% of the goods they have.
But there are no Iranians in Isfahan doing doing electronic PayPal transfers to banks in Dubai. Speaking of banks in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates trade that embargo that they have imposed on Iran has already failed. They say that the Iranian traders in country have already shifted their purchases of gold and other items they would get from the UAE to the countries that surround them, and they are doing direct cross-border business, cross-nations business to China now. So yes, that Dow only had to cross 100 nautical miles of coast, but wouldn't you rather have a more reliable truck-based thing from a country that could send you not 10 televisions, but 300 televisions, right? Want gold.
The other thing is that the reason Iran preferred the UAE is they have zero taxes on their gold. And that's just any purchase of gold in the UAE, you pay zero taxes on, which makes it by definition cheaper for anyone trying to invest in gold. But if there is no other source, then sure, we'll buy from China. China has their own gold source.
Trust me, every Pakistani gold trader in Karachi and Islamabad are haul assing over to the Baluch border crossing right now to set up tables on the other side or on their side with gold. We buy, we sell.
People want
Dubai doesn't want
stability.
it, we'll take it.
They want stability. They want their supply chains to work. People want to make sure that they're going to get whatever goods they need, whatever minerals they need. Stability is what matters. And if we're not going to offer it and China's offering it, people are going to go there. That's the reality.
Yeah. Oof, crazy. All right. That's Hegseth. Team Trump. Oh, yeah. This is funny. Donald Trump made a statement where he claims that the economic hardship in Iran that the United States just claimed we were about to make phenomenally harder, and the economic war, which he said started when we started the war, but now we're going to start again on economic D-Day with Operation Outcast. They can't even decide when this thing started, right? He said the Iranian economy, don't laugh, is a humanitarian crisis. And like he's going to do what? Send bags of wheat over? That he's now blockading Iran and creating an economic crisis, but wants to call it an economic crisis to give them economic. I don't understand the meaning of that. What it portends is whatever bombing America does, whatever attacks America does on Iran from this point out, it's humanitarian. It's for the children who we killed in a bombing at their own school. It's fascinating, the circuitous talk the United States is doing on Iran. Final point for today, Al Arabiya Television, which is Saudi, and who I think owes me $75. But Al Arabiya got a copy from the Pakistanis of the U.S. proposal made via Pakistan and carried by Asim Munir to Tehran today. And apparently, it only covers 2 points. Ready for this?
Yes.
Let's guess. Watch it. Guess. Guess what those 2 points are that the United States has sent as their proposal to stop everything. 3, really, but 2.5. Let's call it 2.5. Anybody? Anybody? What's the first thing the United States wants?
The Strait.
Strait of Hormuz must be opened. Easy one, right? The second thing is,
I mean,
they want to give money.
no, not yet. No, this is the American proposal to the Iranians.
Oh,
for the U.S. to stop
getting rid
everything.
of the HEU, is that in there?
No.
Nope, that's not in there.
Oh, that's been off the table for months, baby. That's been off the table since April. Okay, we don't care about that Iranian bullshit, that bomb bullshit anymore. The second proposal is the Houthis must stop their attacks in the Red Sea and the Bab el-Mandab. Proxies must be brought under control. That's the second point. And the third point you're going to love. We go back to the MOU.
Oh, my God.
All this bullshit for, 44 days.
Oh, my God.
Is to go back to where they were. Saudis.
Oh, my gosh. 60 days expired, August 17th? Now we're in economic sanctions. The midterms are coming up. We're going to go back to kinetic. It's Groundhog Day. It is literally Groundhog Day. There's no new ideas. Everything's being reinvented. And there's nobody with an exit strategy.
No. And apparently this is what the United States asked the Pakistanis to present to the Iranians, which is, I call it, quiet capitulation. Right? But you have to give us something. Open the Strait of Hormuz and stop attacks in the Red Sea. Open the Bab el-Mandab. and then we'll go back to the MOU, which means everything that we have done when we attacked them and broke the MOU has been just smoke. Bullshit.
And we say the Red Sea transit has gone up 400%. Well, if it goes from like 1 to 4, that's not really helping many people.
Right.
It's all a bluster. There's no transparency. There's no real back channels. There's no trust. Our diplomats are in a bind. Nobody's listening to the real experts. Half the experts are already gone. The other half are afraid to speak. You have a room full of maybe 5 or 6 people making decisions who are out of touch, like Wajah said earlier. They have no idea what or normal people go through, yet alone what another part of the world actually has as a fundamental philosophy and way of life, understanding of that. It's just going in circles.
Yeah. Circles. I call it the cycle of stupid. But the cycle of stupid steps up every once in a while on Robert Pape's escalation ladder. So you go through the cycle and steps of stupid. Now we want to go back down. We want off this ride. Absolutely amazing. Last thing we'll talk about is Hunter Biden made a poll on Twitter. And he made a poll on what was the purpose of Donald Trump going to war. 1, to disarm Iran of nuclear weapons, or 2, to cover up the Epstein files. The surprise number in that poll is 76% of respondents believe the U.S.-Iran war was to cover for the Epstein files. And Hunter Biden is quickly becoming the darling of the right. I find this fascinating. They just like it. He's just out there. F you, I'm going to tell you the truth. I was on drugs. Absolutely fascinating. So, woof, that was a day. So that is all the news fit to drink. Yes, watch it.
So there's 2 things. I don't know if you saw, but Michael Cohen became friends with Donald Trump again, and recently interviewed him. Oh, okay. The other thing is that your former colleague, maybe you're still friends with her, Rachel Maddow, came out. She did an amazing list of all of Hegseth's mistakes since he got in office. And I want to list them out if you have a second,
No, we don't have another hour. Come on, watch.
Oh, okay.
I ain't got time for that shit.
Good.
Nobody's got time for that. We'd be here for a week. We'd have to do 6 separate shows on that. Okay. It says, please endorse
I'll read it on my podcast.
Michael Cohen. Yeah, people want me to talk about Michael Cohen. I was friends with Michael Cohen and Lev Parnas. We had that show, 2 Felons and a Spy. And we talked about politics. Michael is doing his own thing. He's made it clear that, he wants to talk to everybody. And I don't know whether this is true. I haven't talked to him in months, right? The last time we talked was we did a show on Iran. And now, same thing with Lev. I only talk about the war. Everybody's got their own agendas. Everybody got their own things. This guy went to prison, though, for 3 years. And I think he's afraid of going back to prison. He gets, when he talks about prison, he says that the U.S. government, if they actually put their focus on you, will get you sent to prison. Right?
Wow.
One way or the other. You might get released, but you're going to jail. They say they will, and they have the ability to make it hurt inside. And I think he doesn't want to go back to prison. I think rapprochement is his new byword, which is French for, French for I don't want to go back to prison. And he may, in fact, be looking for a pardon. And if he is looking for a pardon, that's on him. I have nothing to say about that. But history will not be looking kindly on people who curried favor with Trump. Simple as that. There's no coming back from that. Unless you get your pardon, and then it's double fingers up. Thanks, dumbass. I got my pardon. But I don't know. He looked out for it. He went clean when he turned on Trump. Went clean. And his own lawyer, Lanny Davis, had some hard things to say about it, that it may have been self-serving. So there you go. Everybody is out for their own thing. And it ain't going to get him his money. It isn't going to get him
And
his,
you're not responsible for his actions either. He just did a couple of interviews with a guy that had inside information, and you become friends with a lot of people. There's nothing wrong with that, in my own opinion.
Yeah. All right, let's go to some questions. Question from Martin Amaris. Question: I need a new ride. Should I get a electric car, a gasoline car, or a bicycle? That depends on where you live, right? If you live in a bicycle-friendly place like Montreal, which, by the way, I see those people riding those bikes out in the middle of winter in 3 feet of snow. They're nuts. All right? But
Minnesota too.
I have out in front of my house an electric car and a gasoline-driven V8 Land Rover, right? Defender from 1984, which I can start by rolling down the hill and just popping the clutch, right? Which is pretty cool. But I think that, in my opinion, I think everybody should go electric or an electric bicycle. It just depends on the terrain you live in. If you got to go more than a couple of kilometers, you're going to need you're going to need a car. You can do electric bikes. I watch cyclists out in front of my place all the time. They're almost all electric now. Nobody is pedaling. I actually wave to people. I wave to people as they actually pedal by, including the crazy. There's always one crazy guy on a recumbent bicycle where you're leaning backwards and pedaling forward. There's always that. There's always that dude. Every society.
I was thinking about buying one.
That would be hilarious. I'm sorry to say it, you would have to get a helmet and you would have to fix a red fez on top, right? So that people would wonder, is he a Saudi or a Shriner?
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
They need to be more than one of you to be a Shriner, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
It would look cool. Okay, a couple of other questions. There's a lot of talk about the kind of meat that's coming from Argentina to help Malay, and Trump admitted that it's coming from Argentina. It is not USDA inspected. It could be infected. I got to tell you something. The cattle ranchers are the only word that I can use for who, by the way, voted 90% for Trump. Okay. The word is jihad. I mean, these guys are angry about that they're bringing in all this cheap ground beef, right? And they don't even know if it's actually beef or mixed in with gristle from other types of animals. And they're like, U.S. ranchers, we got real beef, and the price just went up and it got profitable. And just as it's getting profitable, you're bringing in cheap Chinese beef. Bitch, you voted for him. Fuck you. Anybody that voted for Trump 2, 2, or 3 times, you get what you asked for. Guess what I'm not buying? I'm not buying any cheap Chinese beef or cheap Argentinian beef. And if those guys
you
were
won't
smart,
go to the Amish and buy some from there.
Yeah, but did anybody watch the interview between Abdul El-Sayed, and Jesse Waters on Fox News, where El-Sayed just mopped the floor with him, and then Jesse Waters got so upset he goes, "But what about trans people in sports? What about trans people in sports?" And this guy goes, "That doesn't have anything to do with you not getting hospitalization, but trans men are in sport." And it's like, good God, they're a cult, right? Now, of course, I personally wouldn't have responded as nicely as Abdul El-Sayed did, because to be a senator, you have to be a cooling saucer of democracy. I would have leaned into the camera and I would have said, "Are you having a mental, emotional moment right now?" All right.
Mm-hmm.
Trans porn. Trans porn is the number 1 looked at porn in the red states. Right? Just to
like
freak them out.
Grindr app,
No, that's
right?
not true. Can we check your Huh?
Like the Grinder app, when things kind of blow
Right.
up. It's the reality, and then you have allegedly, what did Hunter Biden say? Josh Hawley, obviously you have Mike
What
Johnson.
did he call it? The closet, the closet something, the closet mafia or something in Washington D.C. No, yeah, and he said that there's an
Openly
entire
racist,
group of
He said,
secretly
"Are you
gay, and the
asking
other
me
one.
if they are?"
there's they're not secret about it amongst themselves. They're closeted in pursuit of power, and they hate liberal and anyone who's actually looking out. This is what's really funny. Scott Bessent, being a married gay man, is working for an administration that is actually helping petition the Supreme Court to get rid of gay marriage. How does that work?
I mean,
You
these are
know?
people
They
that hate
think they will
themselves.
be spared. The problem is they think they will be spared. And the thing is, for how long do you think will you be spared until you are next?
Well, first they came for so and so, then they came for so and so, and I just watched, and then they came for me. I mean, doesn't matter if you're, a minority in the sense of ethnicity, if you are gay, it doesn't matter. Number one, they're going to sit there and attack their own. Number two, they're going to punch down to the lowest common, most disenfranchised people, whether it's trans, whether it's poor, whether it's immigrants, whether it's minorities. It's the same playbook. And the fact that there's no understanding domestically of really who these people are, how are you expected to sit there and negotiate with Iran? How are you going to understand China? How are you going to sit there and fundamentally understand the rest of the world when you have no reality when it comes to what's happening domestically?
Wait. Yeah, sorry guys. I just got distracted by a question that someone asked. Can Murdioglu from Istanbul, who we're going to the bazaar, baby. We're
Last
going to the
person.
bazaar. Dexter, you should come with us. You've been to
Count me
Istanbul
in.
recently?
Count me
What?
in.
I love going to Istanbul. That's a great town,
Make sure to buy some
especially if you're.
Iskandar, get you
I'll
some
bring.
ice cream,
I will
some
bring you, Wajia. We'll bring you some Turkish delight back, a big giant box with the nuts
Uh,
in it, because I know you like the nuts inside Turkish delight. I am a straight gelatin Turkish delight guy. But I could sit there, I could knock down 40 goddamn Turkish coffees in a day. I'd be shaking at the end of
yeah,
the
yeah.
day.
They
It
call you
would be
fish.
absolutely amazing. But he asked a question about the Lake of Ontario. Yeah, 48 minutes ago. 48 minutes ago, this program just started, and Trump eyes changing the name Lake Ontario to Lake America.
USA, USA, USA. Do you
Trump
feel great
threatens to
again?
rename Lake Ontario to Lake America in trade war. Okay, that is just insane. All right. Thank you, Ken. A guy in Istanbul is watching the news in real time and feeding it back to me in questions. And what's your opinion on that? It's fucking insane. That's my opinion. That would be like me going and saying, I'm going to change Istanbul, or the Israelis calling you and saying, we're going to change the name Istanbul back to Constantinople. And we've got to tie in with the Pope. Okay. Crazy? Works out in your mind, print it up on your maps. This is madness, madness, madness. All right, one more question, and we will call it a day because it's only going to get crazier today. Ba ba ba. Rick Lewis said, I used to hear decades ago of battlefield nukes, which I assumed means it could be used on an enemy army without harming yourself. Was that bogus? You never hear it discussed anymore. No, battlefield nukes is a real thing. All it meant was small, low yield nuclear explosives, or what they used to call special demolitions munitions. which is another way of saying a very small nuke the size of a suitcase, right? Size of a Pelican case. Yeah, we have those things. But it didn't harm you. It just meant that your troops would get ginned up in an NBC environment, right? Nuclear, biological, chemical warfare equipment. Then we would nuke a hole into an enemy's battle line or critical spot, and your forces would flow through. And I'm going to tell you a true story. Back in August of 2022, when we were about to do the Kharkiv counteroffensive, and we were massing all these forces, Ukrainian army really thought that the Russians, they wouldn't use a nuke, but they would hit us with chemicals. And they handed brand new Avon FM70 gas masks out to us. Everybody had to go through 2 hours of NBC drills running with the mask on. And they gave us these crazy ancient Soviet rubber raincoats. They're ponchos. And they were thick rubber. I mean, thick, right? And you could tell nuclear waste, if you could wrap it up around your gas mask and they hosed you down, nothing would get on you. And they issued that out to all of us, And we were like, this isn't a good sign. Fortunately, we still carry that stuff, but we realized this was meant for NBC warfare, for a nuclear environment in the Soviet Union, except for the British gas mask, which was brand new. But people think about that stuff, and hopefully we don't think about it very much longer. But that's what Trump was probably thinking about doing to Pickaxe Mountain, bringing one of these small suitcase nukes down into the mountain, then detonating the mountain underneath it. Okay, that's interesting. I guess we're going to talk about this tomorrow. Guys, this was a great show. We went 15 minutes over. I want to thank you guys for coming. If you're watching this on YouTube, please come over to Black Man Spy in the morning, malcolmnance.substack.org, and you can watch this live or hit the subscribe button on YouTube and on Substack. If you're already here on Substack, that means you're a subscriber. Please subscribe to Jacob Carswell, Wajia, the Gay Lion, and Dexter Ingram. Could definitely use paid subscribers. That will allow you to come into our hilarious chat and communicate on paid subscriber only Substacks, which we're going to be doing of. So, so a lot of people are texting me about Michael Cohen. Not getting into it any further. Thanks, guys, for coming.
I'm so sorry for bringing that. I did not.
You didn't bring it up. It's being brought up left and right in the chat and this chat. So, halas, that's just something. All right, guys, see you all tomorrow. Shufik Badin.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good one.